Okay, let's recap how we got here so we know where we're going. Previously, we routed all these cavities in this thing, gave this thing an arm carve, round over on all the edges. Everything's smoothed in. It's looking pretty good. But the next thing I need to do is start getting all this hardware mocked up so that I can make sure everything fits, everything's in its place before I blow it apart and start doing all the finished sanding. So let's go over the hardware that I've got. First of all, Texas Special pickups from Fender Custom Shop per the client's request. So that's definitely a must. I'm going with Graphtec ratio tuners on this one. I kind of like these tuners. They're really nice. So we're going to go with those on this build. We know we've got our Floyd Rose, so we're going with a Floyd bridge in this thing. We know that because we've already routed for it. Floyd Rose locking nut to go with it. We've got our jack, and we're just gonna go with a typical recess jack on this one. We'll put that inside over here. And we've got a control plate with all the controls in it, all pre-wired. So just saving a little bit of time there. So the first thing we need to do is drill that jack hole because we don't have one in there yet. And the next thing we need to do is drill for those tuner pegs. I don't have these holes drilled yet. So those are the first two things we're gonna have to do. We're gonna head over to the shopsmith and drill for that jack plate right now. And then we'll get switched over into drill press mode so that we can drill for the. So let's get to work.
Over at the shopsmith, I have it set up as a horizontal boring machine. This lets me clamp the guitar body to the table and drill, well, horizontally into the edge using various sized Forstner bits. I find this much easier than trying to drill vertically with a handheld drill. And of course, you can't really fit a guitar body under a drill press. And then, finishing the hole with a brad point bit. Once that's done, we can convert the shopsmith over to a drill press and then drill those tuner holes. I've got a waste block taped to the back side of the headstock using double-sided tape just to help prevent blowout. And I'm using brad point bits here. I don't clamp this down because I want the bit to find my pilot hole on its own. From there, we can start pounding the bridge posts in, using my trusty scrap wood mallet. After that, we can start mounting the tremolo claw. And then get the bridge itself in place. And it works. Then we can mark the screw locations for the locking nut and drill those. I like to use my Stanley hand drill here, mostly because I tend to break tiny drill bits like these in a power drill. This just feels safer to me. Next, we can get the control plate mounted by marking the screw holes with an awl and then drilling those out, using the same method with the Stanley hand drill. Then we can move on to the jack socket. I like to clamp the body in the leg vise of my bench, then use the awl to mark the locations, and the hand drill again to drill the holes. And we have a jack socket mounted. Next up, we can move to the pickups. We're surface mounting these, so we need to drill pilot holes in the body and use different screws than we would mounting them to a pickguard. And finally, the tuners. I'm just loosely fitting these for now to get them all lined up properly, and then I'll press them in so the locating tabs on the back sort of lock them in. These tuners don't have a screw on the back side, they just have small tabs that will go in an indent in the back of the headstock. And lastly, installing the locking nut and the truss rod cover.
And with that, we've got all of our hardware mocked up on this thing. All the pickups are in, electronics are done, control cavity is in place. Nothing's wired up yet, but I'm just getting everything put where it goes. Floyd Rose tremolo system is in. We've got our locking nut in there, truss rod cover, tuning pegs. I got cover on the back, as well as jack socket in there. Everything is in place. I think it's time to blow this guitar apart and start sanding on it. But I'm going to leave this video here. I'll save the sanding work for off camera, because quite frankly, if I posted a video of me sanding this guitar, nobody would watch it. So I'm going to sand this thing off camera, spare you guys the boredom of watching a piece of sandpaper work back and forth. We'll come back to this when it's ready for finish. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video where I put the finish on this thing. You're going to want to see that. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Maybe we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.
Voyeur Guitars. Who's watching you?